Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pop Anime Comics here from PopAnimeComics.com and the Pop Anime Comics Lounge podcast, where I interview comic writers, artists, cosplayers, and professional wrestlers. New episodes come out every Sunday. I have 110 episodes out, so feel free to indulge yourself. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitch Radio, and anywhere else where you listen to your podcasts. And yes, this is the wrap-up show. We're talking about My Hero Academia, Season 4, Episode 70, titled Go. So the premise, and the very basic premise, is that a bunch of information has been gathered on where Eri is, where Overhaul is, where they're hiding out, where they're distributing the illegal drugs that I guess are a quirk blockage drug. So they don't damage the nerves, they just stop and block the quirk for a set amount of time. And now what's going on is pretty much they're gearing up to go rescue Eri because they investigated a bunch of places and found out where she is. And so now it's just a matter of them going out there and getting her and finding her, and they pretty much go invade Overhaul's residence and his place in the headquarters of his family and their biggest property. And Overhaul kind of figured out that it's going to go down, and so he's simply prepared, and he has this 8-group team. They call the 8 Bullets of his family surname, and the idea for him is that they're 8 very powerful quirk users who are going to buy time for Overhaul to escape with Eri and several other of Overhaul's men, along with several family members are also going to help stall because Overhaul doesn't need to be found out yet, and he's glad that he found out, but he was expecting it to happen a little bit later with all this going down. So that's kind of what's going on. So the invasion is starting, and different agencies are now dealing with different members of this group, and we're getting that fight taking place. And we're starting to see all this training, and that's kind of where we're at. And all throughout the episode, Deku is having issues of where he's worried about him not acting as a hero and saving Eri, making the mistake, having the regret, alongside with the fact that All Might's death is kind of looming upon him, and he hasn't really asked All Might or Sir Night-Eye what exactly is going on with that. And so Deku's friends are kind of offering him food and helping to cheer him up. And so it's a nice moment where we get that idea that Deku does have support and he does have friends, and that's a value of his. Is kind of alluded to and thrown out there with Deku and everything that's going on that makes him feel better. So that's the entire premise of the episode in the short and skinny without giving too many details, but that's the core of the episode. So how I feel about this episode is that I think it's very interesting that we get kind of it divided into two sides where the episode is divided. So the first 10 minutes of the episode are this looming thought process and the internal struggles that Deku and the people who are in the work study program are having about going on this first mission and getting real hero experience, and the fact that Deku's choices of not saving Eri are looming upon him. And we get this internal conflict as well as excitement and as well as kind of this you're now real heroes type moment with all these people and their consequences. And we don't see if the other 3 that are sort of dragged into this, but we definitely see it with Deku, where there are consequences to being a hero. That it's not all peach and roses, and it's not easy, and you're going to make mistakes. And even Sir Night-Eye at one point kind of makes it clear that Laminian, or Miru, made the right choice because they are completely prepared to now deal with Overhaul. And because he held back, they're now completely prepared, but also they did put Eri in danger, and so there are consequences to being a hero, and that's a lot of the internal strife and problems that Deku has as an individual. And so that's very nice to see that, where, look, it's not just, we don't see the internal conflict in other hero shows, not to bash on Superman, but growing up watching Superman cartoons, we never ever saw the struggles of Superman, or if you were watching Batman Beyond, we never really saw the struggles of Terry McGinnis the same way that we see the struggles of Deku. And it's a nice little touch that this does, and really does it in a cool way. And then the other side is really the investigation of finding out where overhauls Kibi and that entire thing, and locating it, and how they find it, and how Certain Night Eye uses his ability, and then really just getting into the nitty gritty of we're breaking down, and we have a warrant, and they're still following warrant rules, but then all of a sudden somebody comes swinging out at you, and how now this is a real internal. This is not internal anymore. This is a real physical conflict with each other. And so that's kind of where this goes. And it's nice to see that we don't really get to see Deku do much. Eraserhead saves somebody, Deku saves somebody, but it's clear that they're charging in and going to battle, and that there's this internal strife, and that Deku and the Minion want to make what their error was. They want to fix their error. And so we get that side of it as well. So it's kind of cool to see that Hero's playing defense, and then they're sort of flipping the switch, and we only see a little bit of that. But we do get that pep talk. We get an entire spiel and we also sort of learn stuff about the police and Heroes a little bit, where the police are still sort of responsible for the arrest, but the Heroes are out there really sort of the muscle, for lack of a better word here. And so it's really interesting, this episode, where now we are getting to the actual conflict, possibly a short peak conflict, whether this, because I don't want to ruin anything for those who haven't seen. Obviously, we're now entering at least one of the peaks, if not the peak, if not many peaks, with this overhaul saga in season 4. But this is kind of the start as we're dealing with these 8, quirk villain type entities or families, the 8 bullets, for lack of a better word here, and that now we're getting into the actual physical conflict, and we're actually going to see what all these heroes can do as teams, and what an actual hero conflict looks like when you're licensed to do something, versus the Stain situation, or even when Deku and a few others went on a mission to go save Bakugo from basically All Might's enemy. So that's what's going on, and that really wasn't a physical mission. And the closest thing that we've had in My Hero was the Stain conflict, and now we're actually going to see one where certain heroes who are students are licensed to actually do things, and actually licensed to fight without getting in trouble under supervision, to get real experience and get credit for said experience. And that's the start of this entire thing. So that's kind of my entire take on it. And that's really all I got on it, because I don't think this episode brought all that much out. Unlike the previous episode or other episodes, and I've broken down a lot of Attack on Titan, where there's a lot of information in some episodes, I don't think that this one in particular brought out an abundance of information. But it's really important, because we're now transitioning from having a nice chunk of information to actually having action to fix a certain situation that has occurred, and also to get that hero experience projected outward and really start seeing Deku's career being built. And that's kind of where we're at. So that's my entire take. And if you enjoyed what I just spoke about, or you found it helpful, or you want to talk about it, obviously comments down below. That's all my comments. I love discussing anime, My Hero Academia, other things relating to My Hero Academia, as well as if you want to support this channel, subscribing. So it's wonderful. Check out my website. That's popanimecomics.com. And on my website, you can read about anime, comics, and pop culture, as well as you can find all my social media links. That's Facebook, that's Pop Anime Comics. The podcast on SoundCloud, that's Pop Anime Comics Lounge. It's also on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. I think I'm in 20 other directories, so feel free to check that out as well. My Instagram is Pop Anime Comics. I do have a pro wrestling t-shirt shop. It's really cool. It's an elf holding a steel chair. So if you want to really actually support the channel, as you notice, I have no ads. YouTube's wonky on that. That's the best way how to support it. If you want to, I don't have a Patreon. I don't do any of that. Buy a t-shirt. It's really cool. It's a cool t-shirt. She looks really cute in it. And you can go ProWrestlingTees.com, Pop Anime Comics. You'll bring it right up. It's also in the link down below, so definitely check that out. And typically anything with Pop Anime Comics is mine, unless I owe you money. And in that case, I'm just going to quietly walk away as if I broke something in a store. And until next week, everybody, which I will be back talking about My Hero Academia, enjoy your week.